Hi there everybody, this is Tony aka TTBurger88 and welcome back once again to TTBurger Game Reviews. Today's episode, I want to start things off with talking about the 1983 arcade classic called SpyHunter by Midway and Paradigm Entertainment. The premise was very simple. You played as a spy, driving around and shooting as many bad guys as you can until you died. In my opinion, the premise worked really well and got people to play it more and more. Unfortunately, I have barely played this game due to the fact that I wasn't born in 1983, but when I did play it, I had fun with it, but I will admit I was pretty bad at it. In 2001, we were introduced to a new SpyHunter game that was a remake and sequel to the 1983 arcade version, which spawned two more sequels, which were all made by Midway. For today's episode of TTBurger Game Reviews, this will be in three parts. Part 1 will cover SpyHunter, Part 2 will cover SpyHunter 2, and Part 3 will cover SpyHunter Nowhere to Run. Now, before I start, I will be looking at the PlayStation 2 version of each game because they are the only versions I have. But now, let's get started with talking about SpyHunter on the PlayStation 2, released in 2001 and then released in 2002 on the Xbox, Nintendo GameCube, and Game Boy Advance. But let's get started by talking about the story. The story of the game stars you as the SpyHunter, who is a part of the IES, as he is set to take down the Israeli corporation called Nostra, led by Damon Curry, who plans to take over the world by stopping all electricity throughout the globe, and this is dubbed the Four Horsemen. Damon is also aware that the IES have sent the SpyHunter to stop them, and he is also aware that this is the same spy that thwarted their plans in 1983 and plans to stop him as well. Now, while there isn't much to the story here in the game besides a couple cutscenes and such, I feel that the story worked perfectly here, and I feel like that it couldn't have gotten any better than the way they presented the story here. Graphically, SpyHunter is still one of the best looking games on the PlayStation 2. The G6-155 Interceptor, which is the car you drive in this game, looks excellent along with other enemy car models as well. The backgrounds also look excellent with crisp lighting along with awesome explosion and water effects. The cutscenes also look very nice and well done. And also the frame rate for the most part holds up really well and is very smooth. Even though there are a couple slowdowns in the game, most of the time, the frame rate is excellent. Sound-wise, SpyHunter is also excellent. The voice acting is great, and while there isn't much voice acting in the game, it still gets the point across really well.
Good evening, gentlemen. You have been summoned here today to execute the final stage of Operation Rebirth. So without further delay, it's time to start our new world. All stations are now fully operational. Petra, Venice, French Riviera, Germany, England, United States, and Panama. After each base has completed its operations, we will then meet in Petra, where you shall all witness the launch of the Four Horsemen. Upon my command, a strategically placed satellite shall emit an electromagnetic pulse that will spread like a much-needed cure across the globe, leaving the Earth cleansed, completely drained of power. Neither the deepest canyons nor the highest mountains shall be spared. Unfortunately, there is one precaution we must take. Our insiders tell us that IES is aware of our presence and has sent a spy to stop us. Normally I wouldn't worry about a single spy, but I have reason to believe that this is the very man who crippled our endeavors in '83 and postponed our plans. This will not happen again. We will use our army of agents to eliminate him. Ignorant government agencies don't know who they are dealing with. They will soon understand that this will happen. It has been foretold. It is for the good of all humanity. That is all, gentlemen. When the Four Horsemen ride, darkness will blanket the earth, and a new king will rise from the ashes.
The music is awesome. You have the Peter Gunn theme, which sounds excellent, and there are other tracks that are just as good. Gameplay in SpyHunter is awesome and a lot of fun. Basically, SpyHunter is very similar to a third-person shooter except you are in a car. The main goals are to solve mission objectives to reach the rendezvous location before the time runs out. You have primary and secondary objectives to complete each level. The primary objectives must be beaten to complete the mission, while the secondary objectives are bonus objectives that you can complete to better your score and earn extra objective points that can be used to access new levels. What I mean by that is, if you beat a level but didn't complete all the objectives, you have to go back to previous missions to beat the completed objectives along with the ones you didn't beat. Now, while people may not like this here, it adds a lot of replay value to it, especially if you want to beat it in a better time and improve your score and such. Your Interceptor has a variety of weapons to choose from that get unlocked after each mission. You start off with a machine gun, which was the weapon you had in the 1983 arcade version, along with oil slick and smoke screen. You also get missiles and EMPs along with GPS trackers, lock-on weapons, and more. Like in the 1983 arcade game, your Interceptor can transform into a hovercraft to ride on water, but also in this game, when you take a lot of damage, your Interceptor will transform into a motorcycle with a jet ski on it. There are 14 missions in SpyHunter that take place in different parts of the world, such as the United States, France, Germany, Italy, and more. And while this doesn't seem like a lot of the missions are very challenging and very long. During each mission, you will find weapon vans that replenish your health and ammo, which is very similar to the arcade game. The controls in SpyHunter for the most part work really well, but if you never played the game, they will take some time to get used to. The X button moves your Interceptor, while the square button lets you brake. The circle button allows you to use a GPS tracker, while the triangle button activates your rear view mirror. You can turn by using the left analog stick, or those of you who don't like using the analog can use the D-pad by turning off the analog. The L1 and R1 buttons let you select your primary and secondary weapons, while the L2 and R2 buttons let you fire them. To lock on to enemies using lock-on weapons, you press up on the directional pad. To go in reverse, you can press down on the directional pad and then the X button. And that's pretty much all I can say about SpyHunter on the PlayStation 2. I do know for the fact that the Xbox and GameCube ports didn't receive all the love and care that the PlayStation 2 version had due to graphical and frame rate issues and such. But now for my final demerit. SpyHunter is definitely an awesome game that combines driving elements and third-person shooter elements all in one, and the end result you get is excellent. If you own a PlayStation 2, I recommend you picking this game up. I give SpyHunter a perfect 10 out of 10. Stay tuned for part 2 where I will cover SpyHunter 2 on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox. Thanks for watching, this is Tony, aka TTBurger88. Peace out, and see you all in part 2.